Today we are having someone amazing person working at Microsoft as a software engineer.
Is this situation scalable? Will it break at some exceptions? Will it catch all exceptions? Don't just write anything. Whenever you are building something in college, you just want to make things work. That solution should work. It should not break. Your code just don't have to work. It has to work seamlessly, perfectly for a larger scale of audience.
One common mistake which you think that students do.
One biggest mistake that students make is that they don't.
So welcome all. Today we are having Tech Fluent Season 6. Today we are having someone amazing person. Nancy Solanki. Currently she is working at Microsoft as a software engineer. She is a very vocal about tech and helping students. She has a wider community of 100K in her socials. So I'd like to welcome Nancy. Nancy, thank you so much for coming and help you. How was your experience today?
The experience was really amazing. We had such a amazing crowd. The audience was super cool. The hospitality was super amazing. The campus is super humongous. So I really loved overall my experience there.
So the first question that I'd like to ask you for my student is that the biggest difference between when students try to write a code for a university project versus writing down good big scalable projects at the company itself, like scalable product that university, not only university, the company usually built. So what is the difference between that so the student can understand?
I think the primarily difference is that whenever you are building something in college, you just want to make things work. That solution should work, it should not break. That's the only solution, that the approach that we have in our college mindset. But whenever you are writing code for a company, for a big tech firm or a small tech firm, you have to make sure the bottlenecks are handled well. Is this situation scalable? Will it break at some exceptions? Will it catch all exceptions? And what are the cases where it can fail? Your code just don't have to work. It has to work seamlessly, perfectly for a larger scale of audience. For 1 million users, you have to scale your products. You don't want your system to be down. Like if someone is like using, let's say, Teams, you don't want the Teams to be down. You want, because else the entire ecosystem goes down. So you have to be very careful while writing your code, merging your code, deploying it to production. There are so many aspects that you need to take care when you are writing something for your firm.
Moving forward, I totally agree what you said, Nancy. Now, students are really looking forward to learn a term called DSA, Data Structure and Algorithm. Now, how do you see generative AI is coming in? How they can integrate in this field where AI is emerging, reshaping the learning habits? Now, what is your guidance to the students? So, which can they leverage?
DSA is very important, and I will say it again, a person who is doing DSA or who is doing the same level of skills that you are doing won't replace you, but the person who is leveraging AI for the same set of skill will replace you. So it's very important that you integrate generative AI with your learnings. Try to get your roadmaps, try to get understand things instead of going to YouTube tutorials. Try to like go to ChatGPT, ask your questions, and read the documentation that is provided by ChatGPT. Reading will tell you how much devil lies in detail. Like whenever you watch something on YouTube, you just see it, you think that you know it. But while you read something constantly, your mind is on alert stage and you grasp more, and then you can try out your coding practices on different platforms. You can create your projects, you can create your roadmaps, you can create your entire day schedule using ChatGPT. Like exploit it, has exploited. Don't just use it, exploit it.
Amazing. Now, moving forward, one question I would like to ask you. You have cracked one of the top tier fintech company and also a big tech firm, big product company, which student aspire to crack. What is the difference in preparation and the pattern for interview?
The pattern remains more or less same. Like we have DSA rounds, we have when you get experience, we'll get system designing rounds. The only difference that I have feel myself in these two different set of companies is that in fintech they do ask DSA questions around mathematics, whereas in tech companies I've seen they don't really care about the mathematics aspect of writing DSA code. But I have seen that in my Goldman Sachs interview, there was this question of sieve of erythrosis, which is how you figure out prime numbers are there. And it's a different kind of algorithm. And you cannot identify that algorithm if you haven't seen that algorithm before. So that is one difference that I felt, that they do have some mathematics related DSA questions. And in tech firms, they usually focus on the basic DSA data structures that are there, like arrays, strings, linked list, tags queue, graph trees. That's it.
Well, that's agreed. One common mistake which you think that students do when they build their first full stack project for a interview preparation. What is that, and any suggestion to improve that?
One biggest mistake that students make is that they don't deploy their stuff, their project on any website. I cannot trust a person's GitHub repo to be the go-to thing to hire someone. If someone says that I have created this e-commerce website, here's the link, check it out. That person stands out for me as compared to a person just sharing me the GitHub repository link, because I can see the proof of work on that link. I can see what he has created, what kind of APIs he is using. I can also inspect the code to see what kind of quality he has written. So that makes a lot of difference. One is this. And what else? Make sure that you write your unit test cases, you know how to handle exceptions, and the code quality should be good. Don't just write anything. It should be clean, modularized, reusable code. Follow your solid principles while writing the code. The more you write your code like that, it will be much easier for you to practice the coding practices in your corporate journey.
Well, that's agreed. Now, moving on to my next question. While pursuing your full-time engineering role, what is that approach that you follow in order to learn a new tech stack, let's say generative AI, and how do you believe it can be integrated in your own learning, which will eventually complement the present tech stack?
So what I do is that I'll take the example of generative AI. I make content as well. And when you have work, you have content, and you also need to create scripts, you also need to take care of the ideas, how thumbnails should be. You can use generative AI. You can create your own agents that will create your LinkedIn post. You just have to, let's say, we just have to feed them with how Nancy will think, how I'll, like, what is my way of storytelling. Just have to feed that agent with your sense of humor, your knowledge, whatever you have, and then the agent itself can create content for you. So what I do is I try to block certain time in my calendar for upskilling myself, and not just, let's say, AI, let's say system designing, or I want to read something about the new tech blog that is there. I devote my time to upskill myself and just to be like with sync with the outer world, what tech stack is working, what kind of technologies are emerging. That is something that I really practice a lot in my day-to-day life.
Agreed. Thank you so much, Nancy, for your wonderful answer. I surely believe this podcast will help students out to clear their doubts. I'm looking forward to many podcasts like this. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you.